What if the person you feared the most became the one who changed your life forever? What if everything you believed was right was suddenly turned upside down in a single moment? And what if the very path you're walking today is leading you toward an encounter you never expected? There was a man named Saul, known not for kindness, not for compassion, but for intensity, for conviction, and for relentless pursuit. He believed he was doing the right thing. In his mind, he was defending truth, protecting tradition, preserving what he thought was sacred. But sometimes the strongest convictions can still be pointed in the wrong direction. Saul wasn't passive. He wasn't indifferent. He was active, determined, and feared. He had already approved of actions that silenced believers. He had already built a reputation that caused others to tremble at the mention of his name. And now, he was on a mission, traveling to Damascus with authority to find followers of the way, to bind them and bring them back for punishment. This wasn't just a journey across land. It was a journey fueled by certainty, but also blindness of a different kind. As Saul moved along the road to Damascus, something happened that no one could have predicted, not even him. In the middle of his determined path, a light suddenly flashed from heaven, brighter than anything he had ever seen. It wasn't gradual, it wasn't subtle, it was overwhelming. The light stopped him. In that moment, Saul fell to the ground, and then he heard a voice, clear, direct, undeniable. "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" That question wasn't just a confrontation, it was a revelation. Saul responded not with anger, not with defense, but with confusion. "Who are you, Lord?" And the answer changed everything. "I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting." In that instant, everything Saul believed was shaken. The very name he thought he was opposing, the very movement he thought he was stopping, was now speaking directly to him. It wasn't a debate, it wasn't an argument, it was an encounter. And encounters like this don't leave you the same. Saul was instructed to get up and go into the city, where he would be told what to do next. But when he opened his eyes, something had changed. He could no longer see. The man who came with confidence, with direction, with authority, was now completely dependent. Blind, led by the hand into Damascus, he entered the city in silence. For 3 days, Saul did not see. He did not eat. He did not drink. He was left alone, with his thoughts, with the echo of that voice, with the realization that everything he thought he knew had just been challenged. Those 3 days weren't empty. They were filled with internal transformation. Sometimes, before a new path begins, the old one has to fully collapse. While Saul was in this state, something else was happening in another part of the city. There was a disciple named Ananias. He wasn't famous. He wasn't known for power or influence, but he was known for his faithfulness. And then the Lord spoke to him in a vision. "Ananias." He responded simply, "Here I am." He was given a clear instruction. Go to a specific house, find a man named Saul, and lay hands on him so he may regain his sight. Now imagine hearing that. Ananias knew who Saul was. He knew the stories. He knew the danger. This wasn't just any assignment. It felt like stepping directly into risk. So Ananias responded honestly. He didn't pretend to be fearless. He said, in essence, "I've heard about this man. He has caused harm. He has authority to arrest people like me." That response is deeply human. It shows that faith doesn't erase fear, it moves forward in spite of it. But the instruction was clear. Saul was chosen. His story wasn't ending in destruction, it was beginning in transformation. So Ananias went. Step by step, he moved toward the place where Saul was staying, and when he entered, he didn't greet him with suspicion or accusation. He said something unexpected. "Brother Saul." That word, brother, changed the tone completely. Before Saul proved anything, before he explained anything, he was addressed with acceptance, not because of who he had been, but because of who he was becoming. Ananias laid his hands on him and said that the Lord had sent him so that Saul might regain his sight and be filled with the Holy Spirit. And then it happened. Something like scales fell from Saul's eyes. He could see again. But more importantly, he understood. He got up and was baptized. The one who had come to arrest believers now joined them. The one who had opposed the message now carried it. Afterwards, Saul regained his strength. But he wasn't the same man who had entered Damascus. The shift was not just physical, it was internal, spiritual, complete. This story is often seen as dramatic, and it is, but when you look closer, it's also deeply personal. Saul's transformation didn't begin with a sermon. It didn't begin with persuasion. It began with interruption. Sometimes life doesn't change through slow realization, but through moments that stop you completely. The light didn't ask for permission. The voice didn't wait for readiness. It met Saul exactly where he was, on the road he had chosen. And that raises a powerful thought. What if the path you're on right now is not the final destination? What if certainty today could become clarity tomorrow, but only after something challenges it? Saul thought he was right. And in many ways, his passion, his dedication, his discipline, those weren't wrong qualities. They were just pointed in the wrong direction. And when that direction changed, everything else followed. There's also something important about the role of Ananias. He wasn't the one who caused the light. He wasn't the one who spoke from heaven, but he was the one who showed up afterward. Transformation often involves both divine encounter and human obedience. Ananias could have said no. He could have avoided the risk, but his willingness to go, to trust, became part of Saul's healing. And sometimes we underestimate how significant our role can be in someone else's journey. You may not be the moment that stops someone in their tracks, but you might be the voice that helps them move forward afterward. Saul's story also reminds us that no one is beyond change. If someone had looked at Saul before this moment, they might have said he was too far gone, too committed to the wrong path, too dangerous to ever shift. But that's the point. Transformation doesn't depend on human expectation. It moves beyond it. And maybe that's where this story speaks most directly, because it challenges how we see ourselves and how we see others. It asks us to consider that change is always possible, that direction can shift, that identity can be rewritten. Saul didn't slowly drift into a new belief. He encountered something undeniable and responded. And from that point on, his life took a completely different direction. The road to Damascus became more than a location. It became a symbol, a moment where everything changed. So maybe the question isn't just about Saul, maybe it's about us. What if we're holding on to something with certainty that needs to be re-examined? What if we're resisting something that could actually transform us? And what if, like Saul, we're closer to a turning point than we realize? Sometimes the most powerful changes begin with interruption, a moment that stops us, a voice that challenges us, a realization that shifts everything. And when that happens, the next step isn't always clear, but it always matters. Saul got up, even when he couldn't see. Ananias went, even when he was afraid. And between those two responses, something incredible happened. A life was changed. A mission was redirected. A story was rewritten. Thank you for watching this video. If this message made you think, or maybe made you pause for a second, don't forget to like, follow the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it.